like normally on this issue, Brussels is very much divided and really very much sending a message that you're not welcome and offering just funding to countries neighbouring Afghanistan. And as you can quite imagine, NGOs here following the meeting today are not that pleased with today's meeting. And for more, I'm joined now by Leïla Bodeux. She's from Caritas Europa. So Leila, thank you so much for joining us on Euronews tonight. You were following the press conference carefully. There wasn't a whole lot that came out of it. There wasn't huge decisions really. What's your take on what was decided?
Yeah, thank you for an invitation. We are indeed very disappointed by today's statement, which focuses mainly on preventing people from arriving to Europe and on increasing border management capacity in third country and neighboring countries, rather than showing concrete solidarity towards people in need of protection. And the statement that we saw today mentioned, for instance, 4 times the term illegal migration, which tends to criminalize people seeking protection in Europe, whereas the term resettlement is briefly mentioned once without concrete commitments.
So what are you expecting from EU ambassadors at the moment and EU justice ministers or home affairs ministers?
Well, we want to remind them that we are facing an unprecedented humanitarian crisis in Afghanistan, and that on top of the humanitarian aid that will be provided to Afghan people in the region, the EU must also show solidarity towards people in need of protection. This includes protecting the right to asylum in Europe and the principle of non-refoulement, but also ensuring that the EU and its member states offer a safe and regular pathway for people in need of protection, for instance, resettlement or humanitarian visa.
But that's not on the agenda. As the Slovenian presidency aligned today, this is not what this was about. Today's meeting was about home affairs and protecting Europe.
Well, but the job of Home Affairs and Migration Minister is also to defend the right to asylum. So this is an important point to highlight, and the EU cannot react to this situation only by creating walls and fences. There is an opportunity coming up in a couple of weeks, the EU Resettlement Forum, and we expect EU member states to make concrete resettlement pledges in that forum, targeting also people in need of protection from Afghanistan that are staying in neighboring countries. The same goes for people that will be arriving probably in small numbers to Europe to ask protection. They should be able to receive a fair and efficient asylum procedure in Europe and have humane reception conditions.
And just on funding, Leila, we heard today that the EU has earmarked millions for neighbouring countries like Iran and Pakistan for them to look after refugees so they don't make their way to Europe. Are you worried that there'll be a repeat of the EU-Turkey situation, even though we heard there from Ylva Johansson, the Migration Commissioner, that that wouldn't be the case? It wouldn't be a copy and paste.
Well, I mean, what I want to highlight is that the neighboring countries like Pakistan and Iran have already done a lot to protect Afghan people, and they are hosting millions of them, sometimes for decades. So we need also, on top of the humanitarian funding that we support and the financial and capacity building that we will be giving to this country, we need also to take our responsibility and to show also global solidarity sharing towards these countries by welcoming as well refugees from Afghanistan in Europe. This is what I wanted to highlight, that this is a global issue that cannot rely only on neighboring countries.
Okay, but that solidarity we only saw really today coming from a minority of ministers like the Luxembourg minister and the European Commission, of course, calling for solidarity like always. Well, look, thank you so much for now for your time. Leïla Bodeux there from Caritas Europa.